one more task, and that is the Wheel of Grades. So we started this project last season with the AFL men's. We're like, we're going to go through and every cat who pulled on the hoops, we're going to give them a grade, a letter grade from F to A plus, and by the end of that, we'll have an average grade of the squad, and we'll be able to tell you, well, from where we saw it, the Cats had a B plus or an A minus season or whatever you like it. Now, it's important to give people the context that the grade is against our expectation for the player. It's not, we're not grading, Darcy Maloney as a forward or something. We're not grading Olivia Barber against an Erin Phillips of the Adelaide Crows. It's like, okay, so this is how Olivia Barber's season went. This is what we expected it to be. So where on our grade scale does that fall? So it's very much Cats against the expectations we had for them.
Olivia Barber's B plus would be different to Rachel Kern's B plus because it's not comparing their grades to each other.
Exactly. It's just what our expectation versus the reality. So that's what we're going to do. Now, this segment, you'll be able to watch it as a video every Wednesday. Wheel of Grades Wednesday on our YouTube channel. So we're going to go through. We'll do it. I think we'll do 2 each. That's what we've got, about 20. I think we've got 26 players to go through. So that'll take us about 4 weeks. 4 segments, this one, and then 3 more. So we'll do 2 each. We'll spin the wheel. Sambo, you are up first. Let's spin the wheel. Oy. We got a wheel spin here. Kate.
Come on, Kate.
Differently straight at the gate.
Yeah.
You said YouTube. You said video content, and everything just falls apart.
That's right.
There we go.
And it is Chantelle Amundsen.
Wow.
Nice.
There we go. It's a quick one. Chantelle Amundsen, I think it's an A. I think it's an A. I don't see the need for a lot more out of Amundsen. I think she's playing it about at her peak. I think a second year we'll see a slight jump up as she, just eases into the side, gets more comfortable with the players around her and her role in it. So I think there'll be, there's still potential for an A plus, but I don't think you can ask much more than just a slight improvement next year. I think just absolute pro. Silky touch of the football, great vision, lays some really hard tackles on top of it. Yeah, I couldn't ask much more from Amundsen.
Nice, I like it. So an A for Chantelle Amundsen. Hell of a season for her after being brought over in that trade with Olivia Purcell. As we've said numerous times, something of an afterthought in the trade. It was like, oh, we've got draft picks, we've got this. Oh, we've got a player called Chantelle Amundsen. Ends up being in the leadership group, having a sterling season, and an A on Sam's Wheel of Grades. All right, Johnny.
Fantastic.
You are next.
Kate's scream of exertion sounds very similar to Colin's scream of exertion.
Just about to say, we don't have Colin locked up somewhere just for this segment, do we?
Kate's taken Colin hostage and just making him spin the wheel. Johnny, your first one is a player who ended up on your team by the end of the season. Madeleine Carrick.
Carrick.
Maddie
Lovely.
Carrick, the defender.
The defender. I'm going to give Carrick a B.
Yeah.
A fairly solid season, but I do believe there's a lot more improvement in her to come, and she's definitely built a nice base around herself, but I reckon she's still got a lot of room for improvement. She's playing in a fairly solid defence, so there's only upwards to go. She's playing with the likes of McDonald and Anderson in the backline, so with them two around her, McMahon as well. So, yeah, I'll give her a B, but there's a whole lot of room for her to improve, and I reckon she can get up to that A next year, hopefully, which would be fantastic to see.
Yeah, and a player who probably had, I'm just trying to think a bit. I remember putting her high on my list. She was in contention for votes very much early in the season, but not so much perhaps later in the year.
Yeah.
So, and you never know. Like with Prisparkas, whose form had a dip in form, and was playing through an injury. So you'd never know too what players are dealing with. So
No.
that could also explain a bit of a dip in form there. All right, time for me to spin the wheel. Gabby Featherston. All right, Gabby Featherston. Featherston was a player I think I said I had a smoky feeling of like, get some stonks in Gabby Featherston before the season. My feelings haven't changed. Now, I thought had a lot of game time, 7 games this season, but was playing predominantly as an interchange player and then coming on in the back line. I am going to give Gabby Featherston... Oh, this is a tough one. It's a tough one. I'm going to give her a B-. Now, I think the range of possibilities for Featherston really this year was somewhere in that C+ to B+ range. I mean, maybe getting to A-, if I'd really thought about it. But I think, did I say B-? Did I say B-? Was
You
that
said
what
B-.
Yeah, B-. And I don't want to sound harsh either. So, a lot of game time and coming off the bench in a lot of those games. Tough, I think, playing down back amongst so many stars to get your hands on the footy, but also tough to find the pace of the game when you're coming in as a rookie off the bench, sort of thing. Like that's a tough thing to do when you're not getting solid game minutes. Like Annabelle Johnson had a lot of game time where she was starting, and was able to find the speed of the game. I think Featherston coming off the bench, that was harder. But I thought you saw flashes of what we liked about Featherston coming out of the draft. The ability to find space in traffic, to dodge and weave, a beautiful raking kick on her, some beautiful marks as well. So not a lot of disposals, but comparative disposals to marks. Took a lot of marks, made a lot of sort of eye-catching plays in flashes, and a little bit like what you're saying with Carrick, Johnny. But perhaps even more so with Featherston. I think there's just like an unbelievably high ceiling for Featherston in future seasons. But just based on this year, I guess I thought maybe she could be established a little more in the side than maybe she ended up. But I'm going to say I'm going to give a B- to Featherston, and I would still be loading up on Gabby Featherston stonks because I think it's a stonk that will rise. That's my thoughts on that one.
Absolutely. I concur.
All right.
Absolutely.
Back to Sambo.
Concur, and I do.
Spin the wheel. The wheel has landed one of Sambo's favourites, Georgie Rankin.
Georgie Rankin. Probably an A. I think very similar to Amundsen. Like I think I wouldn't want to put a ceiling on her and say she can't improve more, if she puts her mind to it. But I think I think she does what she do. And I think it was a really solid season. She's not necessarily a player to always, do absolutely spectacular headline making stuff. But she's just very consistent, pretty good disposal of the football. I think a good tackle. Her best attributes I think are probably her vision for the game beyond just get the ball, kick the ball. She's one of the players that's always hovering around the pack, talking, pointing, you know, communicating with the team. And that leads into her other great strength, which is her leadership. You know, I think she's part of that leadership group now, and I think she brings a lot more to the game than maybe her stats sheet would reflect. I think she's a really vital part of that unit, vital to the culture.
The culture.
And yeah, I think she's just a really, really dependable player that doesn't really put too many feet wrong. So yeah, I think sure she can improve, but I think for Georgie Rangan, for where she's at and what I expect from her, I think she delivered almost everything I could ask for. So another A. So I'm looking really, really positive at the moment on the board.
You are.
All right,
but I've got two such just like consistent, dependable players, both mine out the gate.
It's true. All right, Johnny, your turn. You have mail. You have mail. No, you don't have mail, John. You have.
No.
You have.
Megatron.
Megatron.
The old captain.
The old skipper.
The old skipper. It's a tough one, but I'm going to give her an A.
Yes.
It was a very, very consistent year for Megatron. Again, she didn't really have to shoulder a whole lot, but when she did do her stuff, she did it exceptionally well, as she always does. And I thought her leadership definitely took another step this year because she was able to be that more of that leader instead of that last defender, the last bulwark in front of goals. Now that she's got like Carrick coming along, Featherston, McMahon and Amundsen to help out. So I reckon, yeah, a nice solid A for Megatron. Very dependable, as always, takes great marks, spoils, always tries to absolutely hard out every single game. And yeah, it was just it was good to see her be able to take that bit more of that backstage approach to it, not always be the one taking on the best attacker of the opposition, but able to come in as that third person up and take good marks, spoils, and just use it exceptionally as she does outside of from defence into the midfield. So yeah, I'm going to give her an A because it's just good to see her be able to be a captain and not the last defender from the line as she was last year.
Awesome. And for anyone keeping track, the Megatron sound drop tally finished the year at 16, which I'll be honest is a little disappointing. I think we got to about 11 in the first two episodes after deciding to keep track, and then we really dropped off. I think we wouldn't always use the sound drop. So to start with, I think any time we mentioned her, we were using the sound drop.
They got a bit lax there,
and we got a bit lax. We would throw some Megatrons around without some sound drops, which is poor form on our behalf. Oh, there you go. We're at 17. We're pumping up those numbers.
We are.
just to keep everyone. There's still time for more, but looks like the season will end around about the 17
mark for Megatron.
Absolutely.
There's
a late rush.
Hang on.
There's a late rush.
Hang on.
Wait,
the 20 is still in sight.
That's right. We've still got more episodes to go too. More Wheel of Grades. So you don't know.
Yeah,
it comes up in passing conversation.
We're probably not going to do another Wheel of Grade for Megatron because we just did it though. So
that's true.
We'll have to just find ways to weave back the conversation.
To Megatron.
All right. So we're up to a final one here. The final Wheel of Grades. Spin the wheel.
Not the final player.
Not the
final one this episode.
Countdown. Yes. If we can get the spin of the wheel.
Come on, Kate.
That'd be great. Kate's saying
Fine.
that
Just give Colin a bit of a
warming up.
whipping.
Good lord.
Kate's doing her stretches, getting ready to spin this giant 85-ton wheel.
That's right.
There we go.
There we go. I mean, fair play to Kate. Coming back after a killer St. Paddy's Day hangover. I mean, it's a week on, and the effect's still reverberating. For our
I mean,
producer.
possibly we shouldn't have spent 95% of our budget on a solid gold wheel, but you know.
Sometimes you just gotta spoil yourself, don't you?
Don't hate the player, hate the game. You know, I mean, we're in the podcasting business here.
Yeah,
we clearly need a big visual golden wheel that no one can see.
That's right. Laura Gardner. Laura Gardner, interesting one here for me. I'm going to give Laura Gardner a B. So the reason being, I really, before the season, was convinced that Laura Gardner was going to be able to establish herself into the team this year. Now, played 5 games of the 10, so played 50% of the games. I think she started the year from memory in the team, then was dropped out, and then came back late in the year and sort of finished out the season, which was a similar story to last season. I still have, I hold onto a lot of Laura Gardner stonk. I bought up early, I bought up hard. I have a big bag full of Laura Gardner stonk. So don't let the B fool you. I think she showed what she's capable of in those 5 games. I just want to see that from the start next season, assuming there's no list change. There's obviously an expansion draft coming, so I'm assuming Laura Gardner is going to be a cat in the next 2022 season. I just want to see what we saw in the last 4 games of her season in the first 4 games of this season. Because I'm a big Laura Gardner fan. As I said, bought up the stonks. I'm on the Laura Gardner corner. But I just would have liked to see her established into the side this season. Obviously, it's a hard team to crack into. I'll give that. As a midfield player with those around you. But there are spots on the fringes of that midfield, I think, where you can find the consistent playing time. So that's what I would like to see next year. Just established in the side. That would get me a big tick. So we've got, to recap, Sambo gave Chantelle Amundsen an A and Georgie Rankin an A. An A day for Sam. Johnny went A for Meg McDonald and a B for Maddie Carrick. I'm going to look like a real negative Nancy, even though I'm not trying to. A negative Ned. I gave Laura Gardner a B and Gabby Featherston a B minus. So overall, the grade for these players that we've graded today, these 6, averages out at a B plus, just slightly above a B plus. B plus trending towards an A minus. So that's pretty decent going, I think. And it'll be interesting to see how my wager right now would be that this side ends up somewhere between a B plus and an A minus. I don't know
I'd agree with that.
fully to an A or not, but I think we won't go any lower than it's not going to be any lower than a B. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I don't think your negative, Jake, it's just got to do with the players. Like I said, I got 2 players that are not only good, but just good in a way that, like, I think they're playing at their full potential,
Yeah.
So I'm looking real positive, but I agree with all your decisions, all of your grades.
Beautiful.
In fact, but maybe, I don't think we'd use it, but maybe we should have, when we do these wheel of grades in the future, maybe we should each have an overturn. Just one that we can use where someone gives someone a grade and you just think it's so incorrect, so far from when you feel like they're at, that you can jump in and slap them across the face with a glove and challenge their grade. Like I said, I really don't think we'd use it, but maybe we should add it in just to spice things up.
Are you saying
maybe that will tempt us to give someone a really bad grade to see if the others will jump up
Exactly.
and go,
Just test.
hang on.
Just see what happens.
Are you saying that that person might be referred to as a renegade?
Oh, look at
that. All right. That's it for this Wheel of Grades segment. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. A reminder,
Thank you.
you can
Hit the
listen.
subscribe and hit the bell.
Hit the
That's
bell
right.
and all that stuff.